All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this district school board meeting of Brown Deer to order at 6 o'clock p.m. I'd like to do verification of public notice. Meeting has been publicly noticed. Verification of a quorum. We have 6 of our 7 board members in attendance this evening. Approval of the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Wells. Motion made second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor would raise hand and/or aye. Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously 6-0. And then the reading of our mission statement is through the lens of excellence, equity, and engagement. We are dedicated to empowering every student with the essential skills to build a foundation for lifelong learning. And our vision is to provide a rigorous education that empowers our students to confidently navigate in our ever-changing world. As we know, this is our school board meeting that's open for public comments. Anyone that would like to be able to make a public comment when that section comes in, you will have 3 minutes to be able to do that. We'll need you to make sure you say your name and your Brown Deer address, and your comment, not question, comment, needs to be something that is on our agenda. All right. And so someone will be monitoring the chat. If you're in person, we'll have you be able to do it. And if you are online, someone will be monitoring the chat, and you
Able to high-five Bucks players as they came out of the tunnel prior to the start of the game, and another group of our students were able to watch the Bucks warm up. K-5 Finding Nemo field trip. Our kindergartners were able to attend the play Finding Nemo on January 22nd at the Performing Arts Center. Thank you to the staff who arranged for this field trip to remind our students, fish are friends, not food. The Brown Deer Middle School Channel 58 Chief Meteorologist Drew Burgoyne visited our 6th grade middle schoolers to help our students become tornado ready. The program educates students on how to best prepare when severe weather strikes. Students were engaged, watched videos regarding the weather, and saw a live experiment in action. Students chanted, "Blow it up," as they watched a liquid nitrogen cloud explode. This demonstrated what happens when different air pressures and temperatures collide. Mr. Burgoyne was also very complimentary to the behavior of our middle schoolers. Special shout out to Ms. Rondowski for coordinating this event. And yesterday, students in the middle schools were provided information regarding a building-wide incentive called Brown Deer Bucks. This is a school-wide incentive that the administration and the Culture Climate Committee put together for the remainder of the school year. Students will earn Brown Deer Bucks that can be purchased at the Brown Deer Bodega. And starting January this week, it was a soft launch. And so students only earned the bucks for being on time to class. And next week is the full launch, and students will continue to earn the bucks for not only being on time to class, but it will start earning the Brown Deer Way tickets for their classroom specific needs. Right? It's the Brown Deer Bodega is basically a school store. And so for purchase, after they earn the bucks, students will be able to turn those dollars in for snacks, drinks, fidgets, mechanical pencils, Brown Deer merch, extra recreation, etc. Right? So we look forward to having to providing you with different information in regards to how that is going. And then finally, with the high school, Mr. Peterson's Law and Society class got to visit the Milwaukee Federal Courthouse. We had 25 students attend a field trip to the Milwaukee Federal Courthouse on January 8th for the Law and Society class. Students were able to tour the courthouse, witness a federal hearing, a naturalization ceremony, and meet with judges and attorneys on a career panel to ask questions. Youth Night brought out our future star Falcons to cheer on the girls' basketball team. Elementary and middle school female students had the opportunity to watch the girls' varsity game and be inspired by our high school female athletes. Honoring the class of 2026 at our boys' swim senior night, 8 of our high school senior young men were honored for making one last splash regarding their high school swim career. The night included food, fun, and fellowship for our students and their families. We would like to congratulate, and I'm going to be saying first names because I don't want to murder last names, Braden, Lataviana, Jaden, Jacob, Beckett, Raymond, Grayson, and Robert for their outstanding achievement both in and out of the pool. This last week, there was Cocoa and Cram and exams. Students completed exams successfully starting on Tuesday, January 20th through Thursday, January 22nd. Prior to the start of exams, students were able to benefit from additional academic preparation for their assessments. Thank you to the staff who participated and prepared with these students. Brown Deer High School band performance before Bucks game on 1/13. The school district of Brown Deer's high school pep band provided musical entertainment for fans prior to the start of the Bucks versus Timberwolves game. Special shout out to Mr. Brownfield, his students, and their families for representing the spirit of Brown Deer. Starting January 13th, pre-ACT and ACT prep for students in grades 9 through 11 has been offered. The details are the dates are January 13th through February 26th, so Tuesdays through Thursday only. On Tuesdays, there's math, Wednesday, reading, Thursday, science. The time is from 3 to 3:45. The location will be room 314, which is Mr. Taylor's room. Snacks will be provided. Students do not need to register for these sessions, but students will need their Chromebooks in order to attend. And students will exit the building at 3:45 using the field house doors. And then lastly, on January 30th, which is coming up, this is this Friday, 2 students, Victor Osaka and Fred Jones Hartwig, along with Mr. Dahl, will be featured on the CBS 58 morning show to promote the upcoming winter musical, the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. The show runs February 5th through February 8th, and evening shows begin at 7 p.m. And there is a Sunday matinee that begins at 2 p.m. Tickets are now on sale for purchase using the Bound system. And that concludes my report for the month of January.
All right. Board members, any questions for Dr. Cotton? Outside, we got a plethora of great things going on in our young people, our young scholars are being able to get out there and be engaged and be exposed and being able to do that and stuff. So that is just wonderful. That is just wonderful for our babies to be able to do that. All right. Any other questions for Dr. Cotton? All right.
Thank you, Board.
All right. Let's go on to our next item. Is item number 3, our public comments. Anyone that's in the chat or in person that would like to be heard and make a comment, and it needs to be something that is actually on our agenda. You have 3 minutes and your name and your Brown Deer address. Is there anyone in the chat that would like to be heard? Here we go. I think I see. That's you. Okay. Anyone in person that'd like to be heard? We'll give it another 30 seconds. Let's see if we have anyone that would like to be heard. All right. Let's go on to our next item, item number 4, our consent agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to approve?
I recommend making, would it? Approve the consent agenda, including the minutes of 2025 regular board meeting. The schedule of voucher payments via check, ACH and wire transfers in the amount of $1,434,031.58 and the general checking account. And the food service account, including funds 10, 21, 27, 39, 47, 49, 50, 72, and 80. And the January 27th, 2026 school safety drill update as presented.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Welch. Motion has been made. Do we have a second? Thank you very much, Ms. Hallmark. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Actually, there is. Sorry, but my computer rebooted and stuff down. It was around the minutes from December 9th. There were a couple of things that the say need to be corrected. Yeah, that's it. One of those would be, it says that I made a motion for the consent agenda, number 4 on there. And that was Beluga. Then it also states that for the adjournment. I knew that there somewhere. I think it says Ms. Bacon and it was me.
She's second.
That one,
Wait a minute, for number 10,
Yes.
yeah.
who made the motion?
Meredith made the motion and I seconded it.
Oh, this is me.
And then on the motion to enter into closed session, you have Homer as an aye, but she wasn't here.
Yeah.
So that's it.
All right. So with that, with the corrections, all in favor, raise hand and or aye. Any opposed? Hearing seeing none, motion carries 6-0. All right, let's go on to our next item is our audit presentation. Quinn.
Good evening, board. We have our auditor, Darren Small, on with us to do a presentation on our 24-25.
Thank you for having me this evening. Just getting this up and shared. All right. Can someone confirm that you can see the presentation for me, please?
We can.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having me this evening. I'm enjoying the opportunity to be with you. I'll give a quick introduction and my details. Contact information is at the end of the presentation as well, in case you have any questions that come up after the presentation or just ever want to talk accounting. My name is Shannon Small. I'm a signing director at Clifton Larson Allen. You also see us referred to as CLA, same group. I am the signing director assigned to the engagement. I'm responsible for the overall quality, completion, and delivery of the audit and the audit results to you as the board. We appreciate the opportunity to work with you. So I'm going to be going through a short presentation on the audit. I'm going to be focusing mostly on the audit process and the results. I'm going to leave the numbers to Quentin and your very competent staff. They're going to give you much more current and detailed information than I could. I'll be talking through a bit of the audit scope, our process, highlighting the opinions and our communications to you as governance. And then I like to take a few minutes at the end to lift up and look forward. I spend most of my time looking in the rearview mirror at the past, and every now and then I like to take a few minutes to look forward with you guys, let you know what's changing in the government accounting world and the types of things that your management team is going to be tackling as they move into the 25-26 fiscal year and forward. The audit results in 4 communications to you as governance and to the users of the financial statements. The first and most commonly visible is the report on your organization's financial statements. This is the opinion, kind of the known output of the audit, that end result there. We also issue an internal control or management letter, communications to you of any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. This is at the very back of the financial statement packet if you have that with you. We also issue a letter to you as governance with a bit more details of the results and some context around any of those items. The last item is the report on internal controls and compliance with major programs over your federal and state awards. You will not see this included in your packet at this point in time. That'll be issued as a separate report. There was a bit of a delay in the federal compliance supplement that I'll touch on later, so that is being issued as a separate document. The DPI did issue a communication to schools and to auditors acknowledging that delay and their anticipation that those could be issued separately. It does not impact your compliance with DPI requirements having those issued separately or issued later. That federal single audit is not due until March 31st. So just wanted to highlight that. That might be a little different than what you're used to seeing in your audit packets. We perform a risk-based audit, which means we're looking at your most significant balances and classes of transactions. We don't look at every invoice, every transaction. We focus kind of on those larger ones. We do procedures around understanding your internal control processes and if they've been implemented. That helps us design and inform our audit procedures, but we do not issue an opinion on the internal controls. The scope of our procedures is not broad enough to do so, but it is a key part of our planning process and working with your management team. We do bring to you any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses that are identified during the audit, and then we discuss with management any other best practices that we identify as we work through that. You'll see up here kind of some of those larger classes of transactions, most significant account balances. These are probably similar ones. They're ones you're likely touching on already throughout the year. Your revenue recognition, taxes, grants receivable, any of those other charges and fees, your cash and investments, debt, any related covenants, capital assets outlays, those big capital projects, your payroll and accruals, the general disbursements, payables, those type of things. And we also take a look at your pension and your other post-employment benefits, or OPEB. That's your participation in the Wisconsin retirement system and your little piece that flows through to you. And then the promises to retirees, the retiree life insurance, retiree health insurance, any of those type of promises. I am happy to bring to you that we issued an unmodified opinion, or what's commonly referred to as a clean opinion in the industry. That's the highest level of assurance I can provide you as your auditor that the financial statements are presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and free of material misstatement. So similar to what you've received in the past and kind of that gold standard of audit opinions. You'll see the federal and state awards. Normally we issue an opinion over those major programs. Again, I mentioned that federal compliance supplement was delayed. That's kind of our testing instructions, our to-do list. That's normally issued in May. They didn't issue that until the very end of November this year. Didn't leave us quite enough runway to be able to get that issued at the same time as those audit reports for the financial statements, which are due on December 15th. So it got us a little bit short runway there. So we're working through that procedures now. Our team's been working with Quentin and his team to get that wrapped up. And you're well on pace to be able to have that issued well before that March 31st required deadline. We do have one material weakness that we're bringing to you. I'll touch a little bit more on that later. No significant deficiencies. And at this time, I'm bringing you no items or no findings reported on the federal and state single audits. But as I mentioned, we are still working through some of those procedures, and we'll be back to talk if there's anything there. We do have that material weakness just related to the assistance we provide with the preparation of those financial statements. Management works hard to get that information together for you throughout the year. We help with some of those very technical and fine-tuning items at the end of the year for this annual financial statement. This is similar to what you'll see at districts of similar sizes and also similar to what you've seen in the past. Few additional communications to you as governance. As you're reading through those financial statements, if you'd like a bit more context of how the numbers are arrived at, how they're measured, how we come to those, Note 1 has kind of a summary of your key accounting policies. That's a great place to check if you want to get a little more detail on that. The district did adopt a new accounting standard this year, GASB Statement 101, related to compensated absences. That's your accrued vacation and sick leave. So as you're looking through the financial statements, you will see a restatement of your beginning and net position in those first two schedules. That's not an indication that the district was doing anything wrong. That's an adoption of a new standard. As the industry continues to evolve of the types and methods of the compensation that's provided to employees and those accrueds, and the accounting update or accounting standards are updating to keep track of those to make sure that we're providing consistent and appropriate guidance on that. So just a little bit of a method and change on how that's measured. Your district adopted that. There's a restatement. You'll see similar things at most other districts across the state and also across the country. So effective for the first time this year, adopted by your management team. We had no material audit entries, no uncorrected misstatements, no disagreements or difficulties with management, no transactions where there was a lack of authoritative guidance, no unusual transactions, no consultations with other auditors, no discussions outside the standard course of the audit and our relationship therein. Your most significant estimate is that net OPEB liability that's related to retiree health insurance. And then there is information, both required supplementary information and supplementary information at the back of the schedule of the financial statements. Gives a little bit of additional detail, including historical data on the pension and other post-employment benefits, and then some just details on the other non-major funds that are presented in there as well. So kind of the key takeaway from all this no, nones, and nothings that I'm telling you is the information you're receiving throughout the year is consistent with the information that's presented in the financial statements without a lot of additional input from us as the auditors. So that's your management team bringing all of those key pieces of information and pulling them together, and we just help put it together in this final financial statement process. This is my chance to take a minute and just let you know kind of what's coming up, what's new in the accounting world. We mentioned GASB 101, compensated absences. Here's a little bit more details on it. What was changed with that? That was effective for the first time for your district this year, as was GASB 101, which increases some disclosures. This did not have any impact on your district statements in the current year, but it was adopted. So if anything comes up in the future, that would be there. As you're looking forward, your district is going to be adopting GASB 103 for the upcoming school year. This changes a little bit of the form of the financial statements, not really how we measure the numbers, but just where we put them. I think we maybe just got a little bored and we had to shuffle them up a little bit. So move them around a little bit. They're all still there. It'll have as minimal impact on the district, but it is impacting the industry as a whole. Some additional disclosures in GASB 104 related to capital assets. This is really to take into account a lot of the new standards that have been coming through the last few years related to leases, related to the subscription-based information technology arrangements, PPP arrangements, some of those, just kind of saying, hey, well, there were some questions that came up throughout the industry. Let's get some guidance out there so it's consistently applied. Same with this implementation guide. This is kind of a frequently asked questions guide that comes out. So when someone asks a question multiple times, they publish the response, so there's a consistent application thereof. At this point, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board has on the audit or the audit process.
Oh, board members, any questions that you have for Ms. Shannon? No questions?
Then I'll take a minute. My contact information is here. It's also Quentin can provide that if you need it at any point in time. This is my favorite part where I get to say thank you to your management team. We are a heavy lift on top of an already very full day job that they have. We appreciate them making a priority and working closely with us, especially in this first year that we get to work with the team. So I want to take a moment and say thank you so much for their help in the process.
All right, thank you so very much, Shannon. Anything else from you, Quentin?
Oh, well, thank you, CLA. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you again. Next item on the agenda is approval of new hires. Ms. Jackson?
Yeah. Moving forward, there aren't any new hires to report.
Okay. Approval of resignations.
There are two resignations. First resignation would be from Zachary Natchez of the high school. Physical education teacher. Resignation submitted on January 20th of 2026. Last day of employment would be January 20th of 2026. Then there's Lindsay Hudson Jr. from the high school, special education teacher. Resignation submitted on January 26th of 2026. Last day of employment would be June 11th of 2026.
All right, thanks. Thank you so very much. So then for Zachary, are there any liquidated damages?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, can I get a motion for approval?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve the resignations of Zachary Netchin as a high school physical education teacher effective January 20, 2026, and Lindsay Hudson Junior as a high school special education teacher effective June 11th, 2026.
Thank you so much, Director Hallmark. Second.
A second.
You, Director Roach. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, with aye? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries 5-0. And then the last one is approval of retirements. Have any of those?
There are no retirements to report tonight.
All right, thank you, Ms. Jackson. Next is discussion of January 2026 pupil count.
Good evening. Before you, we have our January pupil count. We reported in January 1,625 students that we could count. We did have 5 absences, so we have 1,630. This was only off by 1 student that we were able to count in September, our September count. I did include the breakdown of each grade. If you have any additional questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So we had one more or one less than
We had one
accepted? Any questions? All right, well, thank you so much.
All right, and I still be on the next one. So we discussed our open enrollment for the 26-27 school year. And we are hoping to get an approval from the board for the additional 55 seats in the elementary school, K-5, 15, first grade 15, second grade 20, third grade 5th. 0 seats for special education, and we will have a wait list for grades K through 12.
Right. So we'll have a wait list just because that's usually how it goes. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because last time we did not have a wait list. We did have some students that could have been open enrolled. And so that does give us the chance to, once enrollment starts, if we do need to accept kids in those grades because we have seats available, we can do that because we have the wait list.
Okay, I thought we did have a wait list. So what happened with that?
The wait list ends after open enrollment ends. So once
Oh,
we start the list again.
gotcha. So that explains for this upcoming school year, but what happened to the wait list for 25-26 year?
That one expires. So those
No, you
can
said-
reapply.
No, you said, so we didn't have a wait.
We did have a wait list. Last year was the first year we had a wait list. Previous
Okay,
to that, we did not have a wait list.
okay. All right, I thought you were saying we didn't have one last year. I'm like,
No,
wait a
we had a wait list district wide.
Yeah,
Previous to that year, last year, we only waitlisted kids in the grades that were open. So they will still be waitlisted. In addition to, so for example, third grade will have 5 seats open and we'll have a wait list. So if those 5 don't take it, we can still move on to the next. In the past, we only did the grades available. Now we're going to do all grades.
gotcha. Right. Any other questions or discussion?
I have a question. Last year, can you tell me how many people came in? You have an estimate of how many did come in through open enrollment?
Yes, we have actually. Yeah, that was the last week discussion. We have a total of 151 open enrolled students. So we have 96 students that are grandfathered in open enrollment. So we're adding an additional 55 seats for a total of 151. So students that are already open enrolled do not have to reapply again, they're grandfathered in.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. So can I get someone then to make a motion for us?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve a total of 55 new regular education open enrollment seats, including 15 K-5 seats, 15 first grade seats, 20 second grade seats, and 5 third grade seats for the 26-27 school year.
Okay.
And then,
And then, so let's do one at a time.
okay,
I think we probably should do for these. All right,
Second.
Thank you, Director Macon. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries 5-0. Now let's do the next one.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 0 special education seats for the 26-27 school year.
Right, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Yeah. Any further discussion on that one? Okay, all in favor with aye? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And then the last part of that one.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the use of open enrollment waiting list for grades K-5 through 12 for the 26-27 school year.
All right, and a second.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on then to our facilities update.
Good evening, board. As the facility and grounds department is coming off of the winter break, just wanted to give you an update on some of the things that we took care of. We did some much needed detailed cleaning of the areas because of the salt and, you know, all the good stuff, so that we can't get around to during Monday through Friday. So it was actually really nice to have my staff be able to do some extra cleaning. We also redid all of the gym floors. We had them sanded down a little bit and a fresh coat of finish put right over the top of it so that they look beautiful and sparkly for our basketball season. So we had that taken care of. Thank you to ProStar for taking care of that. Like they, good job that they always do. And then we also did take care of some of the pool needs during our winter break. We had some pool repairs that we needed to handle, and we took care of those as well, so that our pool is up to code and ready for our swimmers to swim and look beautiful while they're swimming. We also did help out with the elementary school. They had their introduction to their sensory pathways. One is located by the old Deb Kerr room, and then the other sensory pathway is up by the maker space. So next time you're at the elementary school, I would ask you to go take a look at it. It's very nice. So we helped take care of that. And then I just wanted to give you the board an update. We have a position that we're trying to fulfill. And as soon as we're done fulfilling that position, we'll let us know about that. And then lastly, we had our safety meetings at the middle high school at the last small break that we had. And then we also did our monthly district meeting as well. So I have that. I am fresh out of things for you to say. Nothing really groundbreaking, but yeah. Do you guys have any questions for me?
What is the vacancy? Which position?
It's for the grounds department.
No question too. So any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to our next agenda item, which will be our discussion and approval of a boys volleyball program.
Good evening, board. We have come to the place where I'm here for you, trying to add another sport. Hopefully we're able to do an executive summary, so I don't have to go through all those details. And then I also provided 3 quotes from Burghart's game 1 to PSN. And I do have approval from our booster club, depending on who I go with, up to $10,000 to put towards getting the equipment that would be needed to start the boys volleyball program. And we also did a survey of students from 6th through 11th grade to try to gauge the interest, because it will be a fall sport. And for those of you who might not know, what we have been doing middle school volleyball, I think for the past 2-3 years, and we have started co-ed volleyball down to elementary school. So the interest has really grown. And then also our student population has shifted somewhat, where there's a lot of interest from the boys and wanting to play volleyball. So coming for you today, because as I started this process, I didn't realize how expensive starting up a volleyball program would be.
Just started with a couple of balls and something.
That's what I was thinking about. I had a funny story how I learned that boys volleyball was different. I hosted a sectional final of girls and the boys. And I had no idea at that time that it was different heights. So I was having nightmares that night before when I learned that. And then I'm trying to get my MacGyver on the next day and trying to figure out how I can make, because I had borrowed a set of standards from Shorewood, but they weren't wide enough to fit in our sleeves in the floor. So I had bought some stuff in the hardware store, trying to figure all this stuff out because I'm just mad because I'm gonna disappoint the kids. And a contact of mine at one of the sporting goods stores used to play boys volleyball. He came over, helped me out, got it situated, was able to run a good sectional final. It was a great match. But I was like, man, somebody should have told me when they volunteered me, you can take that on. So,
Surprise.
yeah. So what my ask is primarily is to get the equipment and get started. And like I said, I got approval from the booster club to up to $10,000, depending on which vendor I go with. And any questions for me? Yes.
So how does adding a boys fall indoor sport, how will that affect what you already have going on for your fall sports?
The biggest impact will probably be boys soccer, because basically in the fall it's boys soccer and it's football.
And volleyball. Or not?
I think girls volleyball is there. The question becomes then the logistics in terms of coordinating practices and then coordinating games. The good thing is that typically our girls play on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and in our conference, boys play on Mondays and Wednesdays. So shouldn't have too many issues there. I think it becomes more tricky trying to figure out the practice times because of currently JV and JV2 generally practice early and then varsity comes in behind. I know that our current head coach was considering, she has two small kids now, so she was considering practice a little bit earlier so she can be home to put the babies to bed or whatever. So that might open up a slot. Some way, somehow we'll figure it out. But that's my biggest challenge. Then the next biggest challenge will be posting the position, because you gotta find a head coach, gotta get the right person. To build the program, to continue with the momentum that I think that's been built. And in that way, we'll be around for a long time to come.
Two things. One, I went to high school for 3 years in Texas and I played basketball, and we had practice every morning from 6 o'clock in the morning to whatever school started plus first hour. So like I never stayed after school for basketball until I moved to Milwaukee. So,
Okay.
If that could also be an option for some of your sports.
I know for basketball, they have done some morning practices. I know swim has done that. Everybody's different. But as the puzzle becomes more challenging, I think people become more creative and welcome the idea too, because you get to go home. You don't have to stick around.
Right.
But like I had told people, that's my headache to figure out. And then also I gotta broaden my pool of workers because I don't expect the people that work to be here 4 nights a week. If I got four home volleyball games in a week, that's a lot to ask of a person. So I got some work. I got some time. I got some work. Any other questions?
Sounds good to me.
Well, but that does become an additional cost then, right? If we have to talk about hiring more staff to be able to be present.
What was that?
That would become an additional cost in terms of having to hire more staff to be present to support practices and games and things like that too.
Yep. My ask right now is just really about getting the equipment and stuff. For the most part, I think we can figure out the salaries and stuff. I don't think it'd be $30,000 for that, but the biggest cost right now is the cost of the equipment. with the standards, the cards, just because like I said, it's different volleyball size, different height of the net, different things like that.
So which quote are you recommending?
I'm leaning Burkhardt super high.
Yes.
The best thing about their quote though is that's a 10-year warranty on the standard.
Yeah.
The other two quotes, which are significantly less, I think the warranty on those standards is roughly about 5 years. I'm actually probably leaning more towards BSN, based on what I got in. Because basically what I did is I contacted all three, real generic about what I wanted to see who would offer me the best price, and then good quality and offer me the best price. Versus because I know you, I'm only gonna deal with you. I'm like, nah, I need to get 3 bids, see what makes sense.
But a 10-year warranty is excellent. I'm not saying that that's who you should choose, but I do know that, you know, on that 6th year, when things start not
Yeah.
going right and you have a warranty, it makes a difference and have to buy all new. But yeah, I'm happy that we're adding more sports for our students.
Any other questions?
Do you have actual, I heard you say earlier that, you know, some of the kids and have expressed interest in the program. Do you have a survey or some actual numbers around interest?
So I got 101 responses back on the survey, and roughly about 55% of those students were in 8th through 11th grade. So they'll be incoming freshmen coming into the high school next year, for example. Another question that was asked was about interest in joining the team. And of that group, 52% of them said that they will be interested in joining the team. So I did get some of that information. And then of the fall sports that's offered, it's about 51% said that volleyball would be their choice of a sport. Now I don't have the breakdown by grade level per se, blah, 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 but I don't anticipate a huge impact to the soccer program and our football by adding boys volleyball.
Why don't you think that?
One, I don't think right now, because football, we roughly about 40 kids. I don't see any of the kids that's played football last year that'll be returning is gonna play volleyball. Because even like trying to push basketball players, for example, to do cross country or to do football, they don't want to do either one. And they just, want to put our heads in basketball. And even trying to help them understand that if you're good enough to play at the next level, there's a lot of running. Like you're gonna run all day long, and it becomes about stopwatches. They ain't trying to hear nothing. You can't make it in this time, and you can't play this position. That's how that looks. So trying to encourage them, and then soccer. We hover around 22, 23 kids. I don't anticipate any of those kids swinging over to volleyball either, based on what I know. I think one of the things that kind of hurts, like soccer, for example, is us not having lights and different things like that. I'm not really in a position to have 2 levels. And so to really help to build that program, that's why the referendum becomes huge, because I think it offers up opportunity if that's passed, blah, 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 to help grow things. Because I think some of the growth you gotta have feeders. And if we're building stuff at the elementary level, we're building stuff at the middle school level, and then we're able to get more stuff on the youth side going, I think some of the things that we're concerned about will become better, because based on what I see in surrounding suburbs like Milwaukee and different things like that, they got really solid youth programs that speak everything that we have. And so that's the model we're trying to replicate. But volleyball right now, when you gonna start, Mr. McGregor? I'm like, it's the process. I gotta go before the board. I just can't wait for that. It don't work.
And Mr. McGregor, are some of these students too first-time sports kind of children, like this is first?
I think it's kind of a mixture. I think, like with the influx of our Hmong community, which volleyball is a very popular sport, a lot of the males want the volleyball. Like if I watch gym classes, I see kids off to the side, guys bumping, doing all sorts of things. And then expressing interest in wanting to do more. I think for middle school boys volleyball, we have about 15 kids out. And of the 15 kids, I think it's a family of 4 that comprise the team. So there's a set of twins. And then it's a 7th to 8th grade or something like that. And then I think there's about 5, 6, 8th graders that's playing. So you're incoming freshman, and I have probably at least 10 or so that's currently in high school that wants the sport. So I think by adding it just grow. Like I said, hiring the right coach is pivotal in building that program, and having the vision for what that looks like around here as well. So.
Will we charge for entrance into those games like we do for the girls?
Yeah, because it's a WIA sanctioned sport, so it'd be right in line with that as well. Yeah.
Now, the basketball team, they practice kind of.
Basketball's gonna win.
Okay, okay. So there's never any conflict with the volleyball and the basketball? Never? Okay.
It's conflicts and everything.
I just don't have to not heard. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
But it's a fall sport. So
Okay.
it'll start, I think like the 3rd week in August and end in October going into November. It basically mirrors the girls volleyball season in essence.
Okay, but you'll have that all worked out.
Yeah, it'd be just the logistics of like doing winning right now. Boys basketball, girls basketball, and wrestling.
Okay.
And how many other schools like in the North Florida have male volleyball program?
So our conference is getting realigned, for lack of a better word. So currently we're comprised of 16 schools. So there's an east side and there's a west side. Starting in 26, 27, the schools on the west side is leaving the conference. And then we're adding Augustine Prep, and then we're adding West Dallas Hills. So we'd be comprised of 10 schools. And I believe it's 9 of the 10 schools have boys volleyball in the Woodland Conference. And then there are like 2 schools outside of our conference, but they participate in boys volleyball. There's like a form you go through and there's a fee that's charged. I know it's Dominican and I think it's Martin Luther. That's part of that. So I am already on the schedule in anticipation of being accepted. I didn't want to have to figure out scheduling if I can jump into the conference and blah, 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 we're good. And so it'll be roughly, I think volleyball is roughly about like an 8-week season before you get to the playoffs. And so, you have a max of 15 games based upon WIA, but if you're playing in the different invites and different things like that, because the invite, you might play like 6 games, but the invite only count for 1 game.
Well, thank you for your insight on, helping to grow the athletic team or program here at Brown Deer. So what I'd like to do then is make a motion to approve the establishment of a high school boys volleyball program to begin in 26-27 school year as presented.
Oh,
If there's
I wanna hold us up here. Because I'm guessing we need to determine which estimate we're going to approve, right?
BSN is what I'm looking.
Yes.
So roughly the total there is 10,375. Game 1 is 5,447.
What's the 10,375?
BSN.
No, what is it? I'm not getting that.
Oh, so like there's 3 quotes. So you have the quote of 3,000 for the jerseys. That's if I have varsity jersey. You have the 5,150 for the equipment and whatnot. So that's the standard and all of that good stuff. And then you have a third number of 2,190, which is another set of jerseys. So I had them, if I had 2 levels, I had them provide quotes in case I have enough to have 2 levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I didn't realize those were together.
Yeah.
The two different jerseys. Okay. So, yes, and is the recommendation. All right, so then, Director Mackey, can you read through your motion, including the recommended vendor?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the establishment of a high school boys volleyball program to begin competition in the 2026-27 school year as presented, utilizing BSN as the vendor.
All right, thank you. And second?
A second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much for it, and congratulations, Ms.
Thank you. Hopefully you come back with some championships.
All right, just imitate that wrestling program, we'll be all good.
In the bowling.
Yeah, and well, all right, well, let's move on then. On to the next item, approval of the Neola policy review, second reading.
If you remember, good evening, board. If you remember, this is nothing more than like a technical change where previously we had Kevin Clements' name as the district compliance officer. All of these policies will now reflect our new business manager, Quentin Paul. So,
Right, very good. Thank you very much, Dr. Hyde. Director Welch, would you like this one so far, please? Yeah, all of these?
No, just this.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the second reading of the Neola policy review, policy.
Policy as presented.
Right, thank you so much, Mr. Welch. Is there a second?
second,
All right, any further discussion on that one? All in favor with aye? Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Okay, next are our board reports. So SWSA and legislative update.
you know, I actually was on vacation during that day. However, what I will do is send the minutes to everyone. I believe that Mr. Paul and Dr. Cotton attended those meetings, so after I send those notes, if anybody wants them to make some clarifications, then they may be able to assist with that. But what I'll do is I'll send them in because I was on vacation.
Great, thank you. WASB update.
Briefly, so the Wisconsin State Education Convention was this past week from the 21st to the 26th here in Milwaukee, and featured a number of really great offerings and keynote speakers. And so there were workshops and sessions presented in the areas of leadership, technology, school finance, school law, innovations. And so really, again, opportunity for a lot of really good learning for us to be able to come back and enrich our program here at the district. Additionally, part of that time was simply delegates to discuss resolutions proposed by members of WASB from different districts. So a very nice delegate assembly meeting around a lot of things. And so there was a lot of good discussion and a lot of, I think, favorable outcome that again will be in favor of overall supporting education across and districts across the state. So
Trying to find a list for the items that were on the agenda to be voted on.
Would you like
Can
me
you
to share
tell
it
us?
out?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So the first resolution that was on the table was about opposing the removal of caps from the Wisconsin Parental Choice Program. And that resolution passed. The second was revisions to the school district and school report card process, and that also passed. It was amended, I will say that. So there was an amendment to that resolution that removed, including fiscal efficiency and report cards for.
Just a question for you. Did the ones that we voted on, in relationship to our board, did they vote the same way that we did?
No, the one she just said. Was
Yeah.
not the same.
Right. Most of them, yes, but there were a couple that did not. Number 3 was the amendment to funds distribution, and that one passed. The number 4 was the authority to schedule a referenda, and that one also passed. The 5th was a substance abuse disorder and treatment aid, and that one also passed. That one would be, or this, favor. The vocational transition for students with disabilities passed. Universal state covered meals passed. The public education endowment fund did not pass. Amendment to resolution 3.241, early childhood education funding and public-private partnerships passed. Number 10, support and decoupling of public and private school funding did not pass. So then number 11, which was opposing decoupling, did pass. Encouraging, number 12, encouraging schools to participate in WIAA policymaking passed. There was an emergency. Around limited active members, and that one was not adopted into the bylaw.
So there were 4 that were different from what we voted. So it's gonna be interesting to view those and then see what the outcomes are. All right, very interesting. Thank you so very much. Ed Foundation, I think we can take this one off of the agenda at this point. So they're no longer a Native Foundation. Yeah, it rolled under the Brown Deer Foundation.
Yes.
And then Parks and Recreation.
There's no update other than the next meeting, it's March 3rd.
Great, very good. All right, so then up next is the board planning calendar. We have a number of things coming up, including the spelling bee musical that Dr. Cotton announced earlier. Our next board meeting will be, special board meeting will be February 10th. Professional Learning Day on the 17th, so there's no school that day. And then that is also the Brown Deer Black History Program that day as well. February 18th is the joint meeting with the village, and that's virtual at 5 o'clock. And then the winter board retreat is on February 21st from 8 to 12. So that's yes. And I guess we'll be talking about more with the agenda and all of that. And then February 24th is our regular scheduled board meeting. All right. Let's move on then to our motion and roll call vote to enter into closed session. I get a motion for that, please.
I'll make a motion to enter into closed session to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85(1) The Board of Education may move into closed session for the purpose of discussion and approval of 26-28 District Administrator Employment Agreement, discussion and approval of 26-28 Administrators Employment Agreements, and a motion and roll call vote to return to open session to announce or take action if any and if appropriate.
Thank you, Director Welch. Is the second, please?
I'll second.
Director Hepburn. All right, so we will now do the roll call vote, starting with Beal. Is Ashley is absent. Barrington.
Aye.
Hallward.
Aye.
Bacon.
Aye.
Robinson, aye, and Welch.
Aye.
Right, so we will enter into closed session at 7:01 p.m. Thank you to everyone for tonight. As you have participated, we will re-enter into open session at the end of our time. We don't know what time that will be, so if anybody hangs around, we will just go back into the virtual meeting to do that final vote, but that is where we will end for tonight. So thank you all so much for attending, and we hope to see you all again soon. Stay warm. No falcons. All right, thanks everyone.